And welcome to TSPN. This is Supervisor Richard Forster, co-hosting today in Tom Slavik's place. He's off taking care of some business, so welcome to TSPN. Our special guest today, Gene Mancebo from the Amador Water Agency, General Manager.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So we'll be talking to Gene in just a little bit, but we'll go over the Board of Supervisors meeting report for our upcoming meeting on August 12th, Tuesday of this week, and then we're going to have a discussion with Gene Mancebo about the Amador Water Agency and their opposition, as well as much other opposition to the Wild and Scenic State designation on the Mokelumne River. There's opposition there, but there's opportunities there. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll come back and go in our Board of Supervisors report and then be talking to Gene. So we'll talk to you in just a minute.
You're watching Amador County's #1 news and sports leader, TSPN.
And we're back with TSPN, the Supervisor Richard Forster again, and we're going in our Board of Supervisors pre-meeting report. Very short meeting this week. Short meetings sometimes at our board, they'll go 3 hours, so we'll see. Don't laugh at that, Gene. So, we have the Jail Property Assessment Committee coming back with a report. I'm a little confused by some of the things that, at least one of the things that was said here, that the Property Committee is has consensus to move forward collaboratively with the sheriff to develop an alternative strategy for the jail. I'm on the Property Committee, and I'm not sure we made that remark or that recommendation, but we'll talk about that on Tuesday of this week. What this comes down to is usually the end point is all about money. We're talking about 11 items here that I can read each one, but they're pretty clear. Analysis from our consultant showed that this is going to be an expensive project. The scope of work will not let us change the scope of the project based on the specifications from the state. Once you have submitted a jail plan, a jail design, you're not allowed to change that. That puts us in a bind, especially right now at a time where our economy's been down. Our jail, even though our jail is overcrowded sometimes, we've taken measures with the security bracelets that people have to wear, with early releases and whatever we can do. Mark Benini, Sheriff Ryan have all done a wonderful job trying to alleviate the jail crowding program, but we just don't see, based on our current numbers, that we're going to need 160 beds in a new jail. So we need to be able to reduce that. Based on information coming from the state, we'll basically have to have a new project, which means letting this grant go. The combination of increased costs, further staff reductions, program cuts cannot be absorbed by our county budget. Funding sources for construction have not been identified. There's an inability to establish a reserve fund, inefficient funding for additional operational and staffing costs, because we know that our staffing costs, if they're $2 million now, which are somewhere in that neighborhood, they're going to just about double with a new jail coming in. There's many other reasons, and if you want to attend the meeting, you can hear the discussion on this. We don't like letting go of a $22.5 million grant. It's what we look at like a gift from the state in building a project. Unfortunately, that $22.5 million is far short of what it's going to take to build a new facility. The current estimates are somewhere in the range of $40 million. We don't have those kind of dollars in reserve. We don't see the economy perking up to give us much more money in sales tax or in property tax revenue. So at this point, unless we see something miraculous on Monday evening, or before the meeting on Tuesday, it looks like we may be voting to let this $22.5 million grant go and then go back to the Board of State and Community Corrections in the future with a different proposal in the future when more money comes around, which they are allocating money in budget cycles in the future. Even though our state budget is not that healthy, there are still problems with the counties and overcrowding that need to be taken care of. They're also talking about a new proposition on the ballot. If it passes, it will impact jails even further By the way, the Sheriff's Association is recommending a no vote on that proposition, and we'll talk about that more in the future. Next item up will be our Secure Rural Schools Act and funding allocations on projects under Title III. We've always used that Title III designation. You can do Title II, Title III. Title II requires you to work more closely with partners, mainly the U.S. Forest Service, in creating projects. The Title III allows us to put money back into our Sheriff's Search and Rescue. And by the way, on that Secure Rural Schools Act, school districts within the counties get half of that money. So it's a big pot of money. In our county, it's much smaller than some. And you're only looking at a pot of about $600,000 in our county. For bigger county or smaller counties, let's say, with bigger allocations, this came to, I think, around somewhere between $3 and $7 million, depending if you're looking at Del Norte County, Siskiyou County, Lassen County. All of those counties fell in the good 3-year cycle. I believe the cycle was 87, 88, 89, that they took the average of your timber harvest receipts for those three years. We happened to hit a very bad period for us. If it would have been 3 years earlier, we would have got a lot more money into our county. But the recommendations will come back tomorrow. Usually it's our Amador Fire Safe Council and the Sheriff's Search and Rescue that split the proceeds under that Title III. So that'll come before the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday of this week, and then we have a period where people can come up with proposals and bring those back. I think our final decision will not be until about 60 days out. So we're going to have more discussion on that on Tuesday. We'll have also a public hearing on the Community Development Agency Waste Management. This is on a proposed rate increase, and the rate increase will be across the county. The Prop 218 or Proposition 218 notification letters have been sent out. That allows the public to comment, and usually we want those comments in writing. But those Prop 218 notifications were mailed out. The public had a chance to comment on the rate increases. Usually you don't get too many comments on Prop 218 waste increases. People realize that costs go up for our waste hauler. ACE's Waste Services is the hauler, the designated hauler in our county. We have what we call a RAM, or a rate adjustment methodology that's used to calculate the rates in the county. That takes into account things like your labor costs, your fuel costs, your insurance costs, uncontrollable items. And this used to be guided by a system of basically throw your hands up in the air and say, what do we need to do? Now we have this rate adjustment methodology that we put together about 5 years ago that is based on pure facts, and you can't argue with facts. You can't argue if there's a fuel increase. You can see that. The only thing you can argue on is when did they get the fuel rate increase, and what are they allowed to recoup out of that. Other things that go into the rate adjustment methodology are things like the cost for stormwater improvements that are going to be required of ACES that they make at their facility, and this is to control the stormwater on the facility so it doesn't run off-site. We know that they're going to have to do some planning, some blacktopping at some point, and maybe some curbs and things like that to control the water. At this point, we're only including the studies that they're going to have to do, and I think they've allotted $10,000 for ACES to do that. We did receive one objection from a property owner in Lake Comanche. As he said, in 2009 there was a 4.83% increase. 2010 remained the same. 2011 was a 0.29% decrease. 2012, 7.47% increase. 2013 was a 1.31% decrease. This year's proposed 3.82% increase. That comes out to a 2.95% average increase over all of the years. That's not surprising with the increases in fuel costs and other costs, hard costs that have increased. I have talked to via email with this property owner's wife, and they do have some good comments. Comanche is on a fixed income as much of the county. It's hard for people to absorb any cost increases. The one thing they've asked and we're going to consider is looking at possibility of some free waste pickup. But every time you have anything for free, the waste hauler has to do that. There are costs associated with that. The proposed increases are franchise area 1 is 4.02%, which is the Jackson area. If you look at that on a 32-gallon weekly pickup, you're looking at going from $20.96 to $21.80. Doesn't seem like a lot. When you're on a fixed income, though, it all adds up. When you go to franchise area 2, which is the Comanche area, and Ione area, 3.82% increase. These increases, by the way, though, I'm saying Ione area, and that is Ione area, unincorporated area. These do not apply to the incorporated areas, which adopt their own rate increases. So that would be 3.82%. Areas 3 and 3C, which I believe are the upcountry area, are 4.19% proposed increase. The board will have a public hearing and discuss that on Tuesday, but it's between a rock and a hard place. We don't want to make rate increases. We don't want to impact people. At the same time, if your methodology shows that the increases are deserved, then you consider those. So we will take public comments also on Tuesday of this week. I'm going to take a break right now, and then we'll come back with TSPN and talk to Gene Mancebo with the Amador Water Agency.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.